is Camila Ramirez, and today I'm going to be talking about plant-based vaccinations. The purpose of this video is to understand and examine the concepts of plant-based vaccinations, and I will be also exploring some of the methods, real-life situations, challenges, and more about plant-based vaccinations. So vaccines and plants are refer to the use of plants as bioreactors to produce vaccine or vaccine components. This would involve the approach of taking genetically engineered plants to express specific antigens derived from pathogens to stimulate the immune system to provide protection against specific diseases. And plant-based vaccines offer several advantages over traditional vaccine production methods that I will be highlighting in the next couple of slides. So again, as I previously mentioned, a plant vaccination is derived from genetically engineered plants that are expressing certain antigens and proteins to help with certain immune responses. And some of the key aspects that I wanted to highlight are the expression of vaccine antigens, which is the genetic information for the desired vaccine antigen is introduced into the plant's genome. The plant will serve as a factory to produce the antigen, and which would be extracted and purified for the use of vaccines. The subunit vaccine, which is plant-based vaccines, are usually subunit vaccines, and subunit vaccines are specific antigenic components of the pathogen being used. These components will then carefully selected to create an immune response while avoiding the risk of causing the disease. And I wanted to highlight as well the safety and cost effectiveness. Because plants don't have any human pathogens, they are considered safe as a use of bioreactors. And furthermore, in comparison to traditional methods, plant-based production tends to be more cost effective since there's no need, without the use of, or I guess, the need to buy fermenters or cell cultures. I wanted to highlight 4 methods of plant vaccination. So the first one would be attenuated pathogens, which is the use of weakened pathogens that are not harmful to the plant but can still induce a protective immune response. The second would be genetic vaccination, which is inducing specific genes from the pathogen into the plant to stimulate an immune response without causing a disease. The third would be viral reactors, which is harmless viruses as carriers to deliver immune stimulating genes to the plant. And the fourth would be nanoparticles, which is using nanoparticles to deliver pathogenic components to trigger the plant's immunity. And so 4 real life situations that I think would benefit from plant-based vaccinations are animal and human diseases, as well as emerging infectious diseases. We could, again, engineer these vaccines to possibly induce immunity and protect human and animals from infections. And because plants could be used as biofactories to produce vaccines, I think this would be really great for regions that have limited access to traditional vaccine productions. And as for the emerging infectious diseases, as we currently see with COVID and all its new variants constantly evolving, I feel like it would be great for us to put in more research into plant-based vaccine, since it could eventually offer a quicker and more flexible response to combat these new diseases. And one specific topic that I really wanted to highlight about plant-based vaccine and its research is how scientists are currently studying plant-based vaccines as an approach for cancer immunotherapy, and most specifically as a treatment rather than preventing. And the idea is to use these plants as biofactories to produce specific antigens that would stimulate the patient's immune system to recognize and target cancer cells. And the most important thing to note about plant-based vaccination is that it's promising and it's an active area of research. There hasn't been, in my opinion, enough clinical trials and studies to validate the safetiness and effectiveness of these vaccines with diseases, and especially cancer. So it is essential to keep in mind that there's still a lot of regulatory approval processes that are ongoing, a lot of clinical trials ongoing, a lot more research ongoing to determine on how feasible it would be to make plant-based vaccines into a commercial scale production. But regardless of that, I wanted to highlight four different ways that I found were very interesting ways of plant-based vaccines working against cancer. The first one would be the immune response to cancer vaccines, which is these vaccines would induce both mucosa and systemic immune responses. And the direct application of these vaccines to mucosa surfaces could lead to a quick mucosal immune response, followed by a protective humoral and cell mediated response. And the next one would be therapeutic cancer vaccines. This one is great for current cancer patients because the whole premise of this vaccine is to enhance the immune system's ability to recognize and attack tumor cells specifically. The third one is just a preventative vaccine, which would be given to healthy individuals to reduce the risk of developing cancer. And the fourth one is especially the most interesting to me. It's the antigenic presenting cells and T lymphocytes, I apologize, which is them creating certain cells like the helper T cells and the prime cytic T lymphocytes to kill tumor cells, which I feel like would work best with very aggressive cancers. Um, and I hope they continue to do more research on all these vaccines. And I wanted to highlight two of the challenges with plant based vaccines, which are the low expression recombinant vaccine proteins and the unwanted plant specific glycosylation as well. And in conclusion, I think that plants should be considered as a very viable and promising alternative to our current vaccine production systems for any disease and specifically anti-cancer vaccinations. And I still want to highlight that this is still an area of very much ongoing research and development. There's going to be more studies, more optimization, more clinical trials that are going to be investing in this area of research to validate the effectiveness, the safetiness, and just the commercial viability of plant-based vaccines, especially anti-cancer. And it's so exciting to see this area being explored and with biotechnology, and I can't wait to see what new benefits will occur in the future with these plant-based vaccinations. Thank you.